Hello, everybody, and welcome to SportsPoint. My name is Frankie Breit, and welcome to the brand new Pointer Studio Sports Show. We're so excited. We got a whole new set. I'm going to introduce my co-host here. We have Brody, Kupsky, and Liam Statz. Hello, guys.
Hello, Frankie.
Hey, Frankie.
First of all, did I get the names right?
You did get the names.
All right, that was the biggest thing. You guys, seniors, juniors?
Oh, I am a junior here at Stevens Point.
I'm also a junior.
That's awesome. I'm a senior, so I'm sad that this is our only year we'll get to experience together, but at least we have a year.
Let's make it a good one.
Let's enjoy some sports here at SportsPoint.
Enjoy the sports.
A lot of you probably wonder what you can expect on this show. We're going to talk about Wisconsin sports, campus sports, so that's sports going on UWSP campus. We'll talk about football, baseball, basketball, hockey as things take on. It's going to be a lot of fun, and then major storylines in sports throughout the year. We'll see what happens. I know Tom Brady's retired, so can't expect a cheating scandal this year.
I don't know. Suppose what he did where he unretires in the middle of a season.
It will happen.
He'll probably have it somewhere. But let's jump right into it. We have so much to talk about today. And guys, this past weekend, the Pointers football team beat St. Norbert College.
Fourth win I've ever seen.
It's huge. That's a huge win for them, especially after the season that they had last year and started the season this year.
We were on the broadcast, and it turned out that was a 9-game losing streak from last season to now that they broke with a win over the Green Knights.
Which came down to the wire,
Can we get a round of applause for the effort? I mean, come on.
They really deserve it.
I'll give a round of applause, too, because since me and Brody have been freshmen, that is just the fourth win that we have been able to witness in our Pointer Sports program.
Last year covering a game, and the only game they won this season I covered. But a lot of them,
College?
I believe it was Simpson College last year. It's a huge win for them. Especially since it was a Spud Bowl. So
Spud Bowl they won this year, too.
Yeah.
Must be something in those potatoes.
I don't know if they won the Spud Bowl last year. This year they definitely did.
It was the pink game. I remember
pink
that.
game
Pink game
last year?
Yeah.
Yep.
Pink game's the next home game they have. They're going on a bye week next week. Then going to Michigan, I believe.
Yep.
To Albion.
That's correct.
Albion College.
Then back in town for the pink game. We'll be covering that one, too. But let's talk about the Green Knights win. 31-28 from the Pointers. Take a look at some stats here. Jacob Lear having a polar opposite game from the week before against Lindenwood. I mean, they put in 3 quarterbacks that game. Jacob Lear played the whole game, 11-28, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, 117.5 QBR.
Well, to be fair, I don't think we were planning on doing that great against a D1 team, if we're being completely honest.
Completely fair, yes. Let's take that into account.
The fact that we got a touchdown, personal W.
Yes.
That was from freshman Steven Schreider.
Really?
So,
Awesome.
pretty cool there.
Right.
Huge.
And in terms of receiving, Baldridge led with 68 yards. Gallagher tied him with 68 yards. Bryson Cashin, 46, also led the team in rushing. Huge performance out of the offense. Don't forget the defensive line, 8 sacks against the Green Knights.
Yeah, that's
which ended up
huge.
being the pivotal moment to win the game.
Yeah, that's definitely huge out of them. You want your defense to be rushing the quarterback, making him run a lot more than he needs to, and especially getting 7 sacks total. That's a lot for a defense.
Was it 7 sacks? I counted 8 in the booth. They added up so much I didn't know.
I count 7 here on the stat line. Tyreek Sims with 3.5 sacks.
All right.
Dakota Caribou with 2. Connor Jeske with half a sack. And then Sawyer Stuzinski. Hard name to say.
That is a mouthful right there.
It's a hard name to say. He had 1 sack. So
that is unreal pressure. And I think the quarterback of the Green Knights, Peyton Lyon, threw 3 picks in that one, albeit 2 touchdowns, I believe, as well.
2 picks.
2 picks, was it?
He was having a really weird game in that last
It was
quarter.
up and down.
Yeah.
But I wanted to highlight this. When we were calling the game, the final play, did you guys watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see what happened?
I am 100% sure he had heat stroke, just so we're clear.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely had
The guy
heat stroke.
just all
But,
over.
so the sequence was sacked for a huge loss. You got to run, stop the clock, call a play or something.
Enough time to get the field goal unit out still.
Right.
At
The
that
following snap was a low snap that went behind him. He had to run after that, chuck that one out of bounds.
Clock stopped now.
Clock stops,
Yeah.
and then
They keep the offense on the field.
that's what I was saying.
Why?
I said, did they not, on the broadcast, I was like, did they not have enough time to get the field goal?
But the
crew
clock
on?
is stopped.
And I watched their kicker pregame. He was nailing him through the uprights, and then didn't kick a field goal all game, I don't think.
Interesting. I mean, you would think if your guy is nailing it through the uprights at a good distance, you would think you'd trust him in that last moments. But
Right.
to send it to overtime.
I
at
think they
least.
punted like close to inside the 35 on a drive as well. But as we're referencing, Peyton Line, heat stroke, throws up on that final play. He is standing in the shotgun,
Literally.
waiting for the snap. Kicking team's not coming on. He's got to play and try to win the game.
And he just chucks one on the field right there.
That
in front of
I think he
everybody.
got sacked. It was a strip sack as well. That was, I just want to, like, huge props. Huge props. That takes a lot of guts, no pun intended.
Well, I also would not be surprised if their respective conference does not find the coaches for that, because player safety is now becoming a much bigger issue.
Absolutely.
And especially for college students, I do believe that they're looking into it more. And the fact that they allowed him to stay out there with heat stroke, and the fact that the officials didn't immediately go, oh my gosh, at least something,
Right, because one thing that's different from the game that it was one of the first college games I've covered. I'm a transfer student here from Green Bay, so they stopped the clock for the chain gang to get moving.
Yep.
Not something you see in professional football. So I don't know. Why wouldn't you stop it there?
Exactly.
It's a good point.
I would say biggest takeaway from that, stay hydrated, folks.
Please,
Stay hydrated.
please stay hydrated.
It wasn't overly warm that day, but still, obviously, it's first game of the season for them. A lot of like high school teams, they cramp up because they're not hydrated. It goes without saying that stay hydrated, keep yourself safe, and just don't throw up on the field in the last play.
Please. Not even help it sometimes. We saw a lot of cramping in the Packer game, too, as well yesterday. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Before we wrap up the win over the Green Knights from the Pointers, I just caught something with my eye. That laptop, Liam.
Oh, yeah, my
Sensational. Whatever works.
Whatever works.
Yeah,
Whatever we got.
Whatever works here.
I did forget the laptop
On the
this time.
set,
I
no,
won't forget it last time. Next
He
time.
didn't forget it. I didn't tell him.
All
All right, that was a secret. Behind the
knows.
scenes coverage. So obviously a ton of momentum for the Pointers going into next week, but I want to talk about players of the game. We'll start with myself, make our way down. Player of the game for me has to be Jacob Lier, going out there, being able to lead the team, take control of that offense through some ups and downs throughout the game, throwing 2 touchdowns, being able to use his legs throughout the game, and overall just dominate that Green Knights defense throughout the day and stay poised. That had to be huge. Huge, especially with 3 quarterbacks in the game previously. Again, D1 school the week before. Being able to get comfortable, get some stability on that offense. Huge game for Jacob Lier.
That is definitely a good pick, but I am going to go with Bryson Cashin. He wasn't lighting up the stat board here. He had 1 touchdown, led the team in rushing, had a few receiving yards, but also returned a few kickoffs too, which for him, he actually led kickoff yards with 70 in 3 returns. That's definitely huge because you have that triple threat player that can do everything on the field. He showed that last year too. He was returning kicks, returning punts, rushing the ball, getting receiving yards here and there. To have a player like that on the field is definitely huge to have, and he had a pretty solid game for himself.
I want to talk to that point. Led the team in returning yards this week. Previously, Miles Gallagher led the team, wide receiver, against Lindenwood. Didn't see him back there returning kicks or punts at all. So I wonder if there was a switch up there or if that was just part of their plan this week. They always had Williams and Cashin back there returning kicks. So great pick. I respect that. Liam, did you have some for us?
I do. Even though I didn't catch most of the game, I caught the final quarter. My pick is Tyreek Sims, 7 tackles, 3.5 sacks. An absolute monster right there on the line. Very dominant. It got right where he needed to go, and probably the best defensive outing I've seen from the Pointers in a long time.
I'd have to agree. You don't win that game without your defensive line. So great pick there, Tyreek Sims. Are we going to vote player of the week?
Totally can. I don't know, man.
I think so. Everybody kind of puts the offense up to it, but I think that without the defense, we don't win that game. So
Absolutely. I mean, they
Good
did
point.
play that final drive, won the game. So great on you guys. Thank you for your effort. It It was so fun to watch as a fan and a student at this
keep
campus.
this going, maybe.
Let's keep it going. Momentum into next week after the bye. Going to Albion.
Yep.
So we'll see how that
I'm
turns
not
out.
really sure with Albion. Have they had a good record? I haven't really looked into them.
I believe they won.
2-0 this season right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Both games, they have scored over 40 points and only given up 20. In both games, they gave up 20 points.
You know what other teams don't have that we do? Tyreek Sims. Tyreek Sims, baby.
Yep.
Give me another turkey next week, all right? I want 3 sacks. Give me 5. All right, whatever it takes. We'll get it
Huge.
done. We'll
If he
get it
gets
done.
5, he's player of the year.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to transition over to another football game. It was the Packers season opener against the Chicago Bears. Packers with a dominant win, 38-20. Wow. What
Beautiful.
a game.
Anything to get the Bears fans to stop talking.
I want to go down the line yet again. Let's just all say something to the Bears fans. Let's get intimate here.
In your face.
Let's get intimate here. Hey, man, you suck. Okay, week 1, it happens, I know. But for everything you said to me, Bears fans to Packers fans, the game showed it all. I gotta add one thing. We live in an apartment complex. My downstairs neighbors, my roommate and I are going down, Keaton Wally's calling the show in the booth right now, going down to do laundry in our Packers jersey. He's sitting there on his patio, Bears sweatshirt.
Oh, no.
And I looked right at him. I just said, have a good game. I said, have a good game.
Wow.
Very sportsmanlike.
You
know.
are lucky he did not punch you in the face
I
right
just said,
there.
no, the game was fine at the time. I just said, have a good
spicy.
game. I walked home. He walked home. Players did the rest. Anything else you guys want to get off your chest at these Chicago Bears fans who boasted all
Look,
year?
Bears fans, for all the talk that you did, what happened? I mean, what happened? What happened? I mean, you guys talk all this stuff about, Aaron Rodgers is gone. Ooh, our king of the NFC North's gone. He doesn't own us anymore. Looks like Jordan Love might own you guys now. I'm just saying.
passed the ownership.
I'm just saying. No, I mean, credit to Justin Fields. He played decently, but he's not the most amazing quarterback in the world. He's still,
Pick 6.
offensive line. Look, I know there's a ton of season left, but for all this talk in the offseason that the Bears fans did, it really came back and hit him in the face.
I think there's a song somewhere, you can probably find it on YouTube, that perfectly encapsulates what the Bears are currently.
The Bears still suck.
It's a very good song. If you get the time, you should probably listen to that song. So all I'll say is, in your face. That's it. You guys got proven wrong. There's no other way about it.
No, you're right. I don't think we play the Bears until week 18.
It's
I think
a while.
We closed the season against them. So there's a lot of football to happen for
January
each team.
7th, we play the Bears at home.
And what week is that?
That is the last week of the season.
It is the last
January
week of the
7th.
season. We open the season, close the season against the Bears. We'll see each other at the end. We'll see how everything plays out. But in terms of stats,
I got one. The Lions have a better chance of running the North than you do.
and that's saying something.
Yeah, exactly.
They had a great game against the Chiefs, though.
Shout out Lions.
Shout out Lions. Good to see you doing something outside of your usual season. But we'll see you there, hopefully.
We can't talk too much about the Lions, though they did beat us at home last year. So
Aaron Rodgers' final game as a Packer.
Heartbreaking.
it always happens that way, though. The greats always go out on that game.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the parallels between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, their final games, their final plays,
Now
their final
he's going to be
pick.
going to the Vikings next year.
Yeah, don't call me a cynic, but I would not be surprised if in 2 or something years we see him in a purple jersey.
Well, I mean, we'll see how he plays against the Bills, but I just don't know. Based on how he played last year,
They're playing right now, aren't they?
wasn't
At
great.
the time of filming.
In a few hours, they will kick off against the Bills. Good luck to the. And what was the Packers or AFC East or something? Matt LaFleur.
Green Bay Jets.
Yeah, the Green Bay Jets. I don't know what Matt LaFleur had called them. It was something like that.
They took Lazard and Cobb.
They took
right?
more than that even. Adrian Amos is on the team.
That's right.
Like,
Billy Turner,
Yeah, Billy
former
Turner.
offensive lineman, is on the Jets
Mercedes
now.
Lewis might be there, I
I think
think.
he went to the Bears.
Bears,
He
did
played
he?
on the Bears yesterday with Rob Tonyan.
Tonyan.
Yeah, so
Man, that's...
I'm actually sad to see Mercedes Lewis go.
they hate us because they ain't us. That's the classic saying. We'll look at some stats from the last night's game against the Bears. Aaron Jones led the team in rushing, led the team in receiving. Shout out Aaron Jones. How about that picture he had on the ground when he was getting stressed out?
I don't know. They dedicated a whole drone cam to.
They did.
I mean, he was flying over him the entire time. All of a sudden, he looks up and that was funny.
Did tweak the hamstring. Said he felt it bite. Not as bad as a pull, which he's experienced before. It's hopefully just some really bad cramps there. Jaden Reed went down with some cramps, like we said. Luke Musgrave cramped on that.
A lot of people went around with cramps.
So a lot of heat stroke this past weekend. Yeah. But Aaron Jones, 9 attempts for 41 yards rushing, 2 receptions, 86 yards, had that long screen pass, 51 yards, and then the 4th and 3 touchdown. Jordan Love throwing 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards, 123 QBR. Unreal game from the first-year starter.
It's huge.
How do you think?
I mean,
well, all I'll say is if we got a 3rd one in a row, there's going to be a lot of angry people out there.
Baby.
Yeah. I mean, look, I love Love. I mean, the guy is looking really good, and obviously, it's only 1 week, and for all we know, he could just blow it the next week. But for right now, Jordan Love looks like the future. I mean, the guy, especially against the Eagles last year, that really showed me that Jordan Love is ready to play, and he's ready to lead this team to the promised land, hopefully. If it starts out rough the first season, oh well.
He's a rookie, technically.
That's how Aaron Rodgers was at first, and then look what happened.
Yeah, 2 years later, we got us a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Could be the same. and to that point, I remember that Eagles game, the conversation being, do you put Aaron Rodgers on IR and let Jordan Love play out the rest of the season and quote-unquote tank for somebody high in the draft last year? But obviously they didn't do that. I think Jordan Love had an equal success rate or chance to get us to the playoffs based on how he played in that Eagles game last year.
I think that's also kind of an insult to Love a little bit. It's like we're saying, we don't have as much faith in you. We don't trust you enough to do this, so why don't you just go ahead and throw a season so we can get somebody better than you?
Right. That's exactly what this whole game was about. Proving the media wrong, proving the Bears wrong was one thing, but the media. Everyone said, Love can't play. Packers are in trouble. And they showed just the opposite of that, and I think that's one of the coolest things for a Packers fan. I told you so.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wasn't going to say anything, but I told you so. Similarly, we went over players of the game. I want to talk about play of the game for the Packers. I'm going to go with Jordan Love's botched snap and Hail Mary throw up to Luke Musgrave. What an interesting play.
How is he so wide open?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he's so wide open.
We were sitting watching the game, and I'm going, what? What did I just watch? I don't know if I'm happy or sad or scared.
You witnessed greatness is what you just watched.
That's right.
In the making.
That was definitely greatness.
You watch the replay after the bobbled snap. It's bouncing off the ground in his hand. Somehow it just glues to his fingertips. It's like A.J. Dillon's wrapping around. Right.
It's like a basketball dribble.
Exactly. A.J. Dillon's wrapping around, grabbing a block. I think Zach Tom was out there throwing a block, so we had just a little bit of time on that rollout. Luke Musgrave is just standing there, wide open, eating an ice cream cone. I don't know. He could have been doing anything.
Yeah, he could have just been standing there looking at his phone.
He could have filed his taxes the amount of time he had.
And then he just stands there, backpedals, grabs the ball, unfortunately falls over.
That was...
He had one like that, too, earlier in the game that Love and Musgrave didn't connect on. I think it was a first down play that he kind of was wide open, took the route towards the sideline instead of going straight up, which Love thought he was going to do. Incomplete. That one there, still able to connect.
I think Musgrave he's a rookie. He's their 2nd-round pick. I think he's still kind of trying to figure out how to play in the NFL. And people go, well, there's not that much of a difference, but that might be, but psychologically there is. And, you're going from a much like you're going to
a bigger stage.
Exactly, and it's bigger stakes.
Nonetheless, 50 yards receiving as a rookie tight end in your debut can't be much better than that. The rookies really showed out this past weekend. It's going to have to stay that way the entire season. We are such a young team. So we'll see who plays well, who pops out as the star next week. But you guys play the game.
I will have to go with Quay Walker's pick 6. I mean, Justin Fields threw that right at him. I mean, he's playing that real well. I don't know why Fields is throwing that. And just looking at it, he runs up the field. I'm like, all right, he's going to get tackled. All of a sudden, runs straight into, I believe it was the third string running back.
Roshan Johnson from.
It was the rookie running back.
Where was he out of? Texas?
Something
he was behind
like that.
Bijan, right?
I believe so.
I think so too. He had a good game. He sparked that offense late, but continue, please.
Yeah, he runs over him.
That was awesome.
Back up, and it's just runs straight to the end zone, gets plowed in, but he had the ball over the plane, and I'm like, what just happened? How do you let him return like that? And that's a huge play out of a guy like him, second-year starter now for the Packers, and after last year, having his temper tantrums here and there, he really showed out in this game, and huge props to Quay Walker.
You got it.
it.
Could stay Szczynski, but you cannot say Quay Walker.
Somehow not. I don't know how. Yeah, it's a tough name, but no, shout out Quay Walker to have a good game like that. 4 total tackles that game, plus his pick 6. That's huge.
You saw him get sandwiched at the goal line. I think he might have been concussed. He was slow to get up, but the other players picked him up. They're jumping around. I'm like, please be careful with him.
No, he was definitely concussed.
But he was very gimpy as he got off the field. He didn't look like he was in it at all. He looked very out of it.
But I respect it. He put the body on the line for it.
Absolutely, a great play overall. And with second-year players who are first-round picks, Devontae Wyatt on a play action, he had a sack on Justin Fields, didn't fall for it at all, and just devoured him. I mean, had a ton of pressure.
Unblocked at all. Completely unblocked, and I'm like, this is looking really good out of him. Really, really good game for him.
I thought last year the Packers drafted very nicely, had a lot of help from their later-round picks, and then this year the rookie's already playing really well. 2 back-to-back great drafts for Brian Gutekunst, as it looks thus far. We'll see how everything else plays out. But, Liam, your play of the game.
Now, unfortunately, I think you're going to be outvoted here because I was also going to say Quay Walker's interception. The fact that he gets the ball, runs forward, slams into a guy, bounces off of him, and then wheels all the way out to get the ball over the line and destroys himself at the line just to get that touchdown, that dagger, if you will. Best play I've seen. Best play I've seen by this defense so far.
Huge effort from Quay on that play. And as you said, at the defense, Joe Barry had to change something. He said he was going to change something. They're playing press man. And I said, this is the Packers defense?
This feels wrong. Man? This feels wrong, man.
DJ Moore, 2 receptions, like 25 yards.
That's huge.
Jair, locked down. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's huge out of them. And honestly, a lot of the blame comes down to the defense a lot of times. And Joe Barry's kind of like, the headmaster of the blame, really, for the most part. But he really ramped up that defense at least this year now so far. And honestly, credit to him for changing it up. And they kept him on lockdown for the most part.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And to that point, the Packers had one, I would say, poor defensive drive. Devondre Campbell tearing off a player from the pile after the fumble from Justin Fields, and then Rudy Ford getting absolutely trucked by Roshan Johnson.
No.
And then, out of pure embarrassment, picks him up from one leg and throws him down again, gets like another 15-yard penalty. It's like, that is an unreal play. I get you're embarrassed from that. I would be too, but you can't be doing that.
You got to keep your emotions in check. I think that, also young defense as well. We have the youngest team in the league, the Packers do.
Did you, the last youngest team was the 2017 Browns, who went 0-16. So we already broke that.
Yeah, we did it.
It's good to us.
It's like we have the youngest team in the league, and they're all trying to learn how to play at this level, and they just got to keep their emotions in check. And that is probably the most overused line in any sports media, but it doesn't make it any less true. If you're playing, you have to keep your frustrations in check. As a official for myself, the thing I'm going to call most often is retaliation. I mean, if I see it, obviously I'll call the guy, but if I look around and all I see is you shoving a guy from behind because he said something to you, I'm going to call that every single time.
They always get the second guy. They say that on every NFL broadcast, and it was also happened in the Bears game. I think it was Jair Alexander pushed Justin Fields out of bounds. Clearly legal hit.
It was, by the way. Yeah, it was completely in bounds.
And then kind of a fight ensued. Everyone's kind of walking away, getting pulled off, and Jair kind of throws a shoulder at DJ Moore's back. DJ Moore turns around, two-handed shove, Jair flops, 15-yard penalty.
But that one actually offset. You know that?
Yeah,
They
that's
offset
right,
it.
that's right.
They didn't even get DJ Moore for that. They got
Oh, that wasn't.
Claypool. They got Claypool. They didn't get DJ Moore at all. It just didn't happen.
Chicago Bears, Claypool is a joke.
I don't know why you guys traded for him.
I don't know either.
I believe they traded a second-round pick or something for him. It was very high.
This is a guy who said like 2 years ago he's top 3 in the league. He said himself, he's like, I'm top 3 receiver in the league.
Just remember, with the last few seconds in a game, they need to get a quick first down. He's sitting there celebrating. Yeah, I got first down. Woo.
Steelers don't forget that one.
By the way, he had only 2 targets that game.
Yeah.
0 receptions, 0
dropped
everything.
one. One of them was dropped on a screen pass.
You know, when he said that he was top 3, you weren't supposed to believe him. You were supposed to take him seriously on that.
Don't take the bait.
But like as a Bears team, what else do you do? You got a young defense. Obviously, I get it. They're young. You get a new number 1 wide receiver. You revamp the offensive line with a draft.
That didn't work, by the way.
Nothing worked. What do you do?
Exactly. You obviously want a good offensive line for Fields to run behind and, do all the things behind. But if you're not going to protect them, how do you expect him to develop?
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be a running back pretty much the entire season if you can't throw the ball.
He's got legs under him. He's not bad at running.
I mean, do you chalk it up to week 1 jitters?
No.
You had all off season to work on it, and if it doesn't, obviously, it's week 1. A lot can change, but you work all this, you work all these plays in the off season. You work together to communicate with each other what's the best situation for us, and you blow it like that.
Right.
The O-line, I think, for the Bears had 5 holding penalties, too.
It was bad.
It was bad. And I can't remember his name right now. He wears number 70 for the Bears. He had 2.
Braxton Jones.
2 consecutive holding.
That was bad.
That was bad.
2 consecutive false starts.
Yeah, and the false starts. I forgot about that.
That was embarrassing.
The entire line but the center, they said, from one of those.
That had our whole living room laughing when that happened. All right, let's continue on with the Packers. Looking ahead to next week, we have Packers taking on the Falcons in Atlanta. Both teams starting 1-0. Falcons defeated the Panthers. Young, first name.
Bryce.
Thank you. Bryce Young. I had a brain fart there.
Bryce Young, yes.
Bryce Young, rookie quarterback, first overall pick. Don't blast me for not knowing that off the top of my head. For the Panthers, they lose to the Falcons 24-10. Bijan Robinson had his first career touchdown. What a highlight play. And Tyler Algier, 2 touchdowns as well. Falcons are looking good. This is not going to be a chalk-up victory for the Packers.
No, obviously not. You can't look past your opponent. Shout out Tyler Algier. He was sitting on my fantasy football bench. But my team was winning, so I'm
better than the people who played Joe Burrow.
Oh, my gosh.
That was me. He was my starting quarterback.
No.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh, my God. If you had a bad fantasy day, drop down in the comments why, who you started, who didn't perform for you. Joe Burrow was one of the ones.
A lot of tight ends did not do anything for me. I mean, Mark Andrews was out, and I have him in every single league. I love Mark Andrews, but that was heartbreaking.
Who'd you start?
I started in one league, Dallas Goedert, thinking he was doing something.
Yeah.
Got 0.
Oh, great.
Dalton Schultz, Texans now, not Dallas Cowboys tight end.
Cowboys.
And
that was funny, by the way.
In a couple other leagues, it's just kind of, I think Noah Fant, he had nothing.
Yeah.
And I forget who else it was, but
At least it wasn't Tunyon.
No, it was
doing nothing. I mean, I started Isaiah Likely in relief of Mark Andrews. Thought he might do something. 0.60. So that was great. But you touched on the Dallas Cowboys. We're gonna just sidetrack here. 40-0 over the Giants.
Man, Giants, what happened?
That was the worst professional football game I have seen.
They had them on prime time too.
From a team in my lifetime.
Just end the game at some point. You can't keep this going.
I know. That was the shortest 2-minute break I've ever seen. It was a 2-minute warning at the fourth quarter. They were back within 20 seconds from commercial.
It was national television, prime time. Literally, the game that they're hyping up as this is kickoff, right? Mm-hmm. This is going to be football in the NFL this year, and it is the worst game they could have possibly chosen for it. There were zero redeeming qualities about that game.
Shout out Tony Pollard for my fantasy team. He balled out, so I am going to take that. Yeah, definitely. It was an ugly game. I mean, I don't know. I get it, it's a big rivalry between the Giants and the Cowboys, but oh man, that was just hard to watch.
That was ugly.
I mean,
it was ugly.
I had to turn it off because I'm like, I'm sick of this. This is boring.
If you could go back and change it, my pick would probably put the Chargers and Dolphins prime time.
That was a good game.
36-34, Miami comes over the top. I mean, over 200 yards Tyreek Hill, over 400 yards passing for Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, what a game.
So glad that he's still being able to perform, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year was so scary for him. Shout out to those guys, but keep an eye with the Packers here. Let's go over some keys to victory over the Falcons. One of the big ones I got is the defense has to keep Desmond Ridder uncomfortable, and to do that, you have to stop the run. Stopping the run like they did against the Bears, huge plays out of the defense, but now you're facing, I would say, a better backfield with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Force Desmond Ridder to do it all and keep him uncomfortable with that pass rush. I think Rashawn Gary had 5 pressures in 10 pass rushing snaps. That's 50% pressure rate.
It's pretty good.
Insane. Guys coming back from a torn ACL. What a comeback, Rashawn Gary. I believe Lucas Van Ness, first-round pick, tied him in pressures. Keep the ball in Desmond Ridder's hands and have him just throwing all over the field at our secondary, who I know can destroy that team.
Yeah, you got to keep them on lockdown, and honestly, a big key to the game will be keeping this offense going. With Jordan Love, he's a young quarterback, and it's a second full-time game now. He's got to just ball out like he did against the Bears. Him, the running back core has got to ball out. Wide receivers, yeah, we were out without Watson this game, but they still did pretty well for themselves without Watson. I mean, Dobbs, phenomenal game. Jaden Reed, really, really solid pick that they got. Mm-hmm. And they just got to keep this going, I feel like.
Absolutely. Liam, you got anything for us? Keys of the game.
Keys of the game, like I've kind of been mentioning it before, just keep your frustrations, your emotions in check. Our defense is very hot-headed. Jair Alexander, that's just kind of who he is. I love him for it. He likes to poke people all the time, but they've got to understand that people will like to poke them back because of it. They're not going to get any easy trash talking and get away with it. They've got to be prepared to take it as well as giving it. So I think that once they understand that it's just words, it's just noise, they will be able to do even better. And that's not to say they're not doing great right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's to his point as well, is that just like the offense needs to keep going, the defense needs to keep rolling too.
I think they got to do their best this week with the training staff to get healthy. Aaron Jones obviously came up gimpy. Jaden Reed had a scare, but I guess was just cramps. You want to go into that game with Christian Watson and Aaron Jones, two of your two biggest playmakers, because you're going to need them in that loud stadium in Atlanta. It's a hostile environment, but you never know what it takes to shut somebody up. You had the Bears booing their own team at home opener, week 1, by probably the second quarter. So hope to see them take it to the Falcons next week. Good luck to the Packers. We're going to transition here over to some baseball. We have the Brewers guru, Brody Kupsky's right here. Brody, talk to me about the Brewers.
Brewers baseball, man, it's definitely looking up right now, being in the lead in the NL Central by 3 games over the Chicago Cubs. So it's looking good right now, but they're heading to a tough series coming up, starting today actually, against the Miami Marlins, a 4-game series in Milwaukee. Marlins looking to make the wild card, only a half a game out of the wild card right now after Cubs won yesterday over the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are now in the wild card right now. So Brewers baseball, tough game on Sunday during the Packer game. I was watching the Brewer game actually start out because Corbin Burns had a no-hitter going into the 9th inning. Over 100 pitches, had, I believe, 7 or 8 strikeouts, pulled him, which, to his credit, a lot of pitches on the guy, and, you want Devin Williams to lock him down. Mm-hmm. Locks him down. They go to the 10th, nobody scores, and go to the 11th. Brewers score, I believe, on Tyrone Taylor single, to put them up by 1 run. Yes, I believe 1 run. And that proceeded to be eclipsed by Brewers giving up a hit. They did not give up a hit until the 11th inning, by the way.
That's very good.
That's almost an MLB record. So it was heartbreaking to see that. And eventually they got to the 13th inning, which they gave up a home run. Or no, was it a home run or a double, I believe?
It was very long. It was very long out there. So
let's just say, they lost 4-3 in extras against the Yankees. But that you can highlight that game, but the rest of the series they had won. They had won 2 out of the 3 games in New York. So they're kind of riding a losing streak of 1. But heading into this series against the Marlins, I guess I would like to get your guys' takes. How many games do you think they'll win in this series against Miami? 4-game series, Monday through Thursday against the Miami Marlins, who are looking to make the wild card.
4, baby. Give me 4. No more heartbreaks this season. We're going all the way.
I'm going to be a pessimist here. I'm going to say 2 out of 4.
I'll just walk away.
I'm sorry, Frankie. I'm just going to say 2 out of 4 because when it's come down to the wire like this, teams become rabid. They're looking for anything that they can get. And I have seen teams just pull 10-game winning streaks just out of nowhere.
St. Louis Cardinals a couple of years ago.
What was the longest one that started this season?
It was
like a 12-game streak, right?
It was a 12-game streak by the Tampa Bay Rays.
That's what I thought. Did they break the record?
No, they tied it with
That's what I thought.
the 1987 Brewers team.
Really?
Back in '87,
This is why he's the Brewers guru.
They had gone they had gone 13 games in a row, and actually they won their 13th game. I remember this, learning about this. Easter Sunday, Rob Deere ties it up with a home run. Dale Swaim, former Brewers coach, hit a game-winning home run to give him 13 wins in a row.
That knowledge right there deserves a round of applause.
Brewers baseball is it's always on my mind.
Always on my mind.
Yeah.
That's
Really, is that true?
Yeah,
That's why I have in my notes, talk to me about the Brewers. That is it.
Well, for the Brewers, I feel like they could win 4 in a row, honestly, if they put their minds to it. But I feel like they're going to win 3 games out of the series and lose 1. Tonight, as of Monday, September 11th, it is Brandon Woodruff on the mound versus Jesus Luzardo, who hasn't had a bad season. Luzardo, kind of a threat as a lefty, but with the Brewers offense, I feel like they could kind of shell him if they wanted to. They got a lot of young rookies who are playing out better than we thought they would. I mean, honestly, especially in that New York game last night, Sal Frelick and Joey Weimer collided with each other in, I believe it was the 10th, to keep the game going after Anthony Volpe, Yankee shortstop, almost hit it out. Sal Frelick made a leaping catch. It was beautiful. I mean, perfect catch and saved the game, but
true to form for himself.
Yeah, I mean,
He's having a great year.
He is.
That is
I'm
amazing.
so happy.
What a story.
it might not look good at the plate, but he is balling out defensively, and
Absolutely.
that's what you need on a team. You need a defensive presence, especially with the game of baseball turning into home runs and dingers left and right. You gotta have a team that can play well defensively if they're no more shift too.
Right, exactly. I was about to mention that too. And Brody, remind me, what are the standings looking like for the Brewers heading into the playoffs coming up here soon?
Currently, right now, the Brewers are 3 games ahead of the Cubs in the NL Central. I believe wild card standings right now are Philadelphia is 3.5 games above anybody in the wild card. They're 78 and 65. Cubs are 2 games safe, I guess you should say, 77 and 67. Arizona Diamondbacks, 75 and 69, are the 3rd wild card team right now, half a game above the Miami Marlins, who, if they get any wins this series, it's going to look good for them and the Cubs, especially since the Cubs they could honestly win the NL Central for all we know. but you obviously don't want that to happen. The San Francisco Giants are only a game and a half behind. Same with the Cincinnati Reds, game and a half behind, and then after that, it's kind of San Diego's 8 games behind. I don't think they're going to make it. They have
Go Reds.
They really don't have any shots.
This is why we call him the guru. I'll say it again.
I love baseball, folks. Baseball for me has been my favorite sport.
Threw the folks in there too.
Yes.
True to Midwestern form at the moment.
It feels normal saying folks. Yeah.
We're from Wisconsin. What can we say? Thank you, Brody,
Yeah.
for highlighting baseball for us. Thank you for joining us here today. I think that's all the time we have for covering Wisconsin sports and the sports here on campus. Good luck to all the campus sports team this week. I know the women's soccer is playing here too. Good luck to the Packers coming up here in Atlanta. Thank you so much for tuning into the SportsPoint football stream this past week, presented by Pointer Studios on the UWSP Athletics page. We'll have another one for you against, who are we playing in the pink game?
Eau Claire.
Eau Claire, playing against Eau Claire in the pink game. We'll see you there. Thank you for everyone watching. If you have any ideas for segments you want to see on this show, comment down below. We're hoping to have some student athletes on the show to talk about their experiences or break down a game you played in. Contact us. We'd love to have you on the show. Huge thanks to our crew. We have Keaton, Waala, Aminee, Hoff, and Maddie, Larson in the booth. Brody, Kupsky, Liam, Statz, thank you for joining me here today. And from all of us at SportsPoint, I'm Frankie Breit. We'll see you next week.